Okay.
Meanwhile, back here in Washington, Leon Panetta's confirmation hearings as CIA director start tomorrow before the Senate Intelligence Committee. Panetta is a former White House chief of staff, former WMD director, former member of Congress, but never worked inside a U.S. intelligence agency. Republican Senator Kit Bond is going to be delivering his opening statement at Panetta's confirmation hearing. He is the ranking member, the vice chairman, I should say, of the Senate Intelligence Committee. And you, Senator Bond, joining us now, you've openly criticized his statements in the past on Iraq intelligence. Let me take you, first of all, to what Leon Panetta wrote in the Monterey, California County Herald last March. That is his local paper. He wrote that one of the first items to catch their attention includes part of an opinion piece that he wrote last March when he said about Saddam Hussein that America went to war in Iraq over the false fear that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. We now know that there were intelligence officials who questioned that assertion. What is your problem with that? Because certainly the bulk of the reporting has been that there were intelligence officials, both inside the agency and at the State Department, who questioned that assertion.
Well, that's just simply not true, Andrea. All of the information that came to policymakers, and it came to the Hill, it came to the White House, it came to the DOD, it came not only from our intelligence agencies, it came from other intelligence agencies around the world. And the intelligence analysis was flawed. They had a group think, and everybody thought they were sure. So they set it up the line, saying he is working on getting or has weapons of mass destruction. We know he used them in the past. The problem was that George Tenet absolutely assured President Bush it's a slam dunk. So the information that was provided was faulty. And we did a 2-year analysis in the Intelligence Committee on why the analysis was bad, but it was the information that we in Congress, the President, and everybody else had to look at. And when I've called that to Mr. Panetta's attention and asked him to go back and review the work in the Intelligence Committee that we did, as other committees have done, to show how flawed the intelligence was. Intelligence was decimated in the 90s, and we suffered for it.
Well, I know the Iraq Study Group and others have said that there were State Department officials whom I spoke to on Colin Powell's staff who had contradictory opinions coming out of the State Department Bureau of Intelligence Review, and that they were overruled in the consensus judgments that you correctly say were put forward by the CIA to the White House.
The opinions, the national intelligence estimates, come from the entire intelligence community. There may well have been people who had those other views, but the consensus of all the agencies, the leaders of all of the elements of the Intelligence Committee, came together and assured Director Tenet, who assured the President that there were weapons of mass destruction. And that was the intelligence we moved forward on. Now, to the extent that Mr. Panetta recognizes that the analysis and the groupthink was wrong, that is correct. That's what our report showed. And to say that there's some people who had a contrary view, there are people who always have contrary views in the intelligence community. You have to do the best job to get the right answer to the President, to Congress, and other policymakers. They didn't do that.
Let me ask you a couple of